Nice. What's up, guys? Where's everybody from? I'm in Washington, D.C. Maryland, what's up? I grew up in Maryland. DMV, let's go. New York, Brooklyn. Oh, this is coming fast now. All right. Oh, I love Chicago. Pizza, not good. Baltimore. Oh, John Barry, what's up, bro? Nice. I'm gonna give it like a minute or two for more people to get on, and then we'll get going. Um, well, you guys are all over the place. This is exciting. Can we do genres of music next? What are you guys studying? What are you producing right now? Definitely good to know. Latin pop, reggaeton, alt pop, hip hop, R&B. Alexis, hit me on DM if you're in DC. UK drill. Well, that's gonna be tight. Hip hop, R&B, gospel. Is it hip hop, R&B, and gospel at the same time? Nice, nice, nice. All right, guys, let's get it started. So first of all, thanks for joining. My name is Ali Samadpour. I'm the director of marketing at Everybody Knows, the founder of Pressing and Digital, and the co-founder of Modular Merch. I've prepared a little presentation. I spent all morning working on it. So this is actually going to be pretty new for me as well as I dig into it, but hope you guys like it. We're going to do questions and answers at the end of it. So please save your questions for me. And I'll get to them as quickly as I can. I'm going to start the screen share right now. Cool. So I'm really excited to actually be a part of this, and I'm glad that I was able to reach out to the team at Yellowbrick to make this happen. Thanks for having me. What we're going to cover today is basically like my background, basically starting as an intern all the way to where I am today. I also want to thank everyone who filled out the actual questionnaire that was sent out, telling me where you are at your career path right now. So a lot of you, about half of you ended up being producers and musicians. The other half want to be professionals in the music industry. So that definitely helped me figure out how I'm going to frame this presentation. A lot of you wanted to learn a lot more about entrepreneurship in the music industry. That's going to be the bulk of what we talk about. We'll also talk about the essential music marketing stack that I like to use, a crash course on digital advertising, maximizing your marketing budget. And I've outlined 3 different ways that I would spend a budget, or 3 different budgets. So $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, and we'll get down to it. Building your Spotify. It goes down in the DM, the power of DMs, chestnut checkers. I had fun with this one. And then we'll go over the additional questions that were mailed in, and then we'll do the rest of the Q&A afterwards as well. All right. So let's jump into it. Entrepreneurship. So on the right, you'll see every single artist that I worked with in the past 12 months. It's a good amount of hip hop and then techno and house music. I started my journey in the music industry in 2013. I started as an intern at the Bullet Agency, which is a booking agency here in Washington, D.C. And they work with like techno artists and house music. And I worked for free for 6 months. It wasn't glorious. It wasn't an easy way to get started, but it got my foot in the door and led me to where I am right now. After about 6 months of interning for free, I ended up finessing my way into a job, which was to do some digital marketing for their artists. And my entry salary was $2,000 a month before taxes. My rent was $1,100 a month at that time. And then my food and stuff on top. I was struggling. I was dead broke while I was working there. But the experience was priceless. I learned a lot. I made a lot of contacts. Some of them I'm still in touch with to this day. And I'm going to get to that actually a little bit later. From there, I went on to become a digital marketer at Fame House in Philadelphia. Fame House is a subsidiary of Universal Music Group, and they had incredible clients. They were working with Eminem, Pearl Jam, Ice Cube, Maroon 5. They were working with some really, really great clients. I ended up working with a lot of their techno acts. So I worked with this guy, Richie Houghton. I worked with Loco Dice. I worked with Victor Calderon. And during my time there, it was an entry-level position, but I made it a point to make a strong connection with all of my clients as possible. So that meant paying out of my own pocket to go see their shows in New York, like going overnight to actually see them perform and hang out with them, have dinner with them. Again, out of my own pocket to build those relationships. And after about 9 months of being there, a few of my clients essentially approached me and said, hey, listen, we're really enjoying working with you. If you decide to leave, we're going to come with you. And that's what prompted me in 2016 to start my own business. And that's Prescient Digital. So I started Prescient Digital in 2016, moved back to my parents' basement from Philadelphia to Germantown, Maryland, and basically was a one-man show for about a year. And I was grinding it out in my parents' basement. And we grew, ended up getting a staff of 6 people at the capacity, did $25,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue for a brief while. And things were going really, really well up until coronavirus hit. And that kind of crushed me back in March. But a new opportunity was born with Everybody Knows. But before I get there, I'm also the co-founder of Modular Merch. And Modular Merch is a full-service merchandising business. And we're based in Germany. My partner is in Berlin, Philip. And we do basically the design, the production, the fulfillment, the warehousing, the storage, everything associated with merchandising. We make it as easy as possible for the clients to get a shop online and start making money. So that's that Modular Merch business. And now, as of September, I've been working with Everybody Knows, which is a startup company in San Francisco. They work almost exclusively with rappers. And that experience since September until now has probably been the greatest professional experience of my life, because I've gotten so many opportunities and had so many milestones professionally, like the first 1 million views on a video campaign, the first 5 million, 10 million, 15 million, up to 20 million views, all happened at Everybody Knows. So exciting stuff. Again, this is the client list from last year. It's definitely grown this year as well. So that's kind of been my journey over the past, 8 years? Wow, I feel old. My journey over the last 8 years. So some tips for entrepreneurship in the music industry is going to be networking with like-minded people. Entrepreneurship in the music industry is all about your relationships. Things that have worked really well for me was going to panels, tuning into podcasts, connecting with people on Instagram and Twitter, and making time to meet your clients and your colleagues. So being in this, post-COVID world or currently COVID world, we're all working remotely right now. No one is meeting up face to face, but finding a way to actually connect with people offline, even if it's still technically online, is a great thing to do. So finding casual non-work environments you can use to build on your relationships with peers is great. For me, this little meme right here, this is me and my boys. Back when the pandemic really started, we were playing Call of Duty, playing quads. We were just playing, Warzone for hours on end. But then it started turning into business, because I know some of my friends who were booking agents, managers, they were doing meetings with the artists in Call of Duty. So it's definitely a valuable tool that leads to business development. John Barry, who is actually tuned in right now, referred a client to me for my merchandising business. It generated about 15K in revenue for my company. John, I'm going to send you a gift, by the way. Thank you. But playing video games now led to me making money for my business. So it's chill way to market and network with your friends and do team building at the same time. The other thing that I would say is the most valuable thing I invested in probably 2 years ago was thought leadership, by way of writing articles, sending newsletters, and speaking on podcasts. Writing articles means you're putting yourself as a leader, and you're kind of dictating what you think the story is going to be and what you think is important. For me, this streaming versus merchandising article that I put out a year ago still brings in hundreds of clicks every single month. And it actually now generates more business and more press for me. On Monday, someone from Digiday reached out to me and said, "Hey, I read your article. Can you provide a quote about Amazon Music?" And if I didn't write that piece, I wouldn't have that quote. So doing these little things is going to generate more leads for you and makes you look like a leader, makes you look more professional. The other thing that's really helpful is case studies. So the most important case study I published, we'll send it to you at the end of this webinar, is the one I did for advertising, where I basically did a write-up about how I turned my client's budget from, how much was it, like 50K to 300K. And in some cases, we 8X their budget in terms of return on investment. And being able to now present that to other potential clients, they see, oh, he knows what he's doing. Let's go work with him. So proof of work is going to be a great way for you to close business as well. Other things that are tough that I think everyone needs to know is don't succumb to imposter syndrome. Never doubt yourself. You should be proud of who you are and the work that you've done and where you're headed. Imposter syndrome is actually what prevented me from writing articles and newsletters in the very beginning, because I was like, who actually cares about what I have to say? And once I got past that, you know, it's been going quite well. People are very receptive to the work that I'm putting out. People reach out to me for my opinion on things now. So you need to just put yourself out there, get out of your comfort zone, start writing your opinions out, write some newsletters, speak on podcasts, any opportunity you have to put your opinion out there, especially if it's well researched and articulated, you should absolutely be doing that. Here's some hard lessons. Hire a lawyer. You see Kanye and Taylor Swift, all these people had issues. I wrote an article about this, about the issues with his royalties and his contracts and him trying to break away. So I wrote an article about this. We'll send it to you as well at the end. But there's really nothing more valuable than an ironclad agreement written by a lawyer that is basically set up to shield you and protect you. So if you're an artist, you should be getting a lawyer before signing a recording contract or a management agreement. You really just need to have a clear understanding of your rights, your royalties, terms, the publishing, everything that goes into it. You need to have a clear layman's understanding of it before committing. Otherwise, you end up like Kanye, Taylor Swift, Prince, Lil Wayne. And again, I break all that down in the article. And then if you're an entrepreneur or business person in the music space, get a work agreement set up and have them basically make it as clear as possible for the payment terms, the deadlines, the penalties. Protect yourself. Right now, here's the biggest L that I ever took, came 3 years ago. I'm still owed about $22,000 unpaid because I didn't protect myself. And 3 years ago, you know, water under the bridge, it happens, but don't put yourself in that position. My goal for you at the end of this actual webinar is to basically, maybe you can DM me, tell me what you learned or the favorite thing that you learned. And I also want you to be able to basically learn from my L's and shorten your journey to the top of wherever you want to be. Because my journey's been 8 years and it's been marred with mistakes and hard learning experiences. So I hope that you guys can learn from the mistakes I've made as well and shorten your journey up a bit. On to the next one. Failure and losses are normal. Build back better. So as I mentioned, COVID essentially killed my business back in March, recovering still, thankfully. And it happened once again 3 years ago as well. And being an entrepreneur in the music industry or even an artist, you need to be prepared for setbacks. You need to be prepared to take losses and protect yourself as best as you can. It happens. It happened to me twice, and both times I built back because I'm of the mindset that no one is going to outwork me. No one's going to out hustle me. So whatever happens, I'm going to build back. I'm going to learn. I'm going to be stronger. And I think that's the right approach, but maybe be smarter with it than I have been. Don't make these same mistakes. So protect yourself. Another mistake that I did or made was not diversifying my work. I put myself into a box. I was working in dance music for a very long time, and it made it very, very difficult for me to pivot out of dance music into hip hop. It made it difficult to bring on corporate clients. So I think don't put yourself in one box. Don't stick with one genre of music. Don't stick with any one industry, because in my case, electronic music, live music in general, and touring disappeared overnight because of coronavirus. And I was stuck flat footed and had a very, very difficult time recovering. So spread your work across industries and genres, and you're going to be okay from there. Chestnut Checkers. I just watched Training Day again. I think it's on Netflix. So this little piece came into my mind, and I love Denzel Washington in this movie. It's a good one. For me, I always like to plan ahead, and I like to. This is gonna sound like Gary Vee. I like to have my micro short-term goals and then my macro goals for long-term success. And I like to make sure that they're aligned. So the micro goals, the short-term goals need to be the building blocks that lead you to that long-term success. So every time I have a small achievement, I'm always thinking to myself, what's next? How do I elevate to the next level? And anytime I find myself getting comfortable, it's just a sign of complacency and to me, a bit of weakness. Getting comfortable and not consistently finding a way to grow and develop yourself, whether it's new skills or new clients, you're going to become stagnant and get left behind. In the marketing world and music, things are developing and changing so quickly that you need to be on your shit, frankly. Just you need to be on top of it. So by practicing like this, it's allowed me to work with every single client almost that I've ever wanted to work with. Every artist I've wanted to work with the exception of Future and A$AP Ferg, I've gotten to work with. And it's because I just know 2 steps ahead what I'm doing, how I'm getting where I want to go. I already know how I'm going to work with A$AP Ferg, and I'm hoping that it happens in the next 12 months. Check in with me in 12 months. Let's see if it happens. But I'm going to leverage relationships that I have to put myself in front of A$AP Ferg and try and get work done with him. But this practice really became the norm for me in 2015. My parents basically did what I would refer to as the intervention. I had the job offer from Fame House in Philadelphia, and I didn't want to take it. I didn't want to pick up and move my life to go work an entry-level job in the music industry when I was already an entrepreneur and running my own show here in DC, to an extent, running my own show. But my parents made it clear for me it's a great opportunity to go get new contacts and learn new things. So they basically sat me down and said, you got to do this, give it 1 year and see what happens. And that's exactly what ended up happening. I told myself before I went, during that little intervention with my parents, it's like, you know what? 1 year is all I'm going to give this. And then I'm leaving to start my own business. 9 months after I started that job in Philadelphia, that opportunity presented itself. And almost 12 months to the day, I was out. I had moved back to my parents' house to start the business. So there's nothing wrong with taking a step back and then using it as a platform to go forward. Come back, learn the structure and learn best practice, get some contacts, and then move on to the next thing. So you don't have to be stuck as an entrepreneur forever. Always play the long game, always think about the big picture. So a little bit on digital marketing and advertising. I personally think that this needs to be a full-on course by itself. So I'm going to give a very, very high-level overview of what I think is important, what's essential for marketers and business people, as well as artists. And then maybe if you guys have further questions, you can follow up with me directly. I'm also including some resources for certification, some classes that you can take that most of them are free for you to do some self-teaching and learning so you can start practicing on your own as well. So digital advertising, my first thing is always hire a professional. If you have the budget for it, having a team on retainer year round is going to help you grow more than just having the marketing team that's assigned to you from your record label when you make a release. The reality is, if you're releasing on an indie label, you're going to be stuck with either an intern or an entry-level employee who doesn't know the best practices. These indie labels don't have the budgets to hire the best-in-class marketers. So you should be looking to do it yourself. Learn on your own or hire a professional if you can, and have them working with you all year long and building on your data and building on your social stuff like that. When you work with the label on a short release, it's only for 3 weeks at a time. So they're not building long-term or in your best interest. They're working just on the release and on to the next one. So I think it's really important. Find someone who rocks with you in your music, who can give you a deal and work with you on a year-long basis and really build your career that way. The other thing is teach yourself, get certified. So these are the courses I mentioned. Google Fundamentals is probably the best one. 40 hours, includes a certification, and it's free. HubSpot, this one you can knock out this weekend if you really wanted to. 7 hours between the two courses I recommend. And again, super valuable information. Facebook Blueprint, I actually did this one. I learned a lot about Facebook Business Manager. This one, Facebook Blueprint, is only going to cover Facebook. HubSpot and Google Fundamentals will teach you more networks, more social media platforms, and more ad platforms. So I think doing a hybrid between those three is going to be really, really helpful for you. Read as much as you can. So the Social Chain Social broadcast and Later's newsletter is specific for Instagram. I get those every single day and I actually read them because it tells you the latest updates on what's changing on the platforms, new features that are rolling out. A lot of great information in there, and it's free. It takes you 5 minutes to read it every day. So I highly recommend signing up for those. You can click the link when you have the presentation. If you're looking to do a lot of advertising, this is the best Facebook group, I think, in the entire world. They're going to teach you so much. There's a lot of case studies, a lot of tutorials, a lot of guides, and you can even ask questions in there like, hey, why is my ad not performing? And people will help you troubleshoot it to make sure you're successful. So highly recommend it. They don't do a whole lot on the music side. It's a lot of e-commerce, but again, it's been a very powerful resource for me. Small tips. Again, I feel like this needs to be a whole class, so I'm going to go high level overview here. Dark posts are the posts that show up in your feed as sponsored ads and as the Instagram stories. Those are what you want to lead with on a release. And for me, using that Instagram Explore page is the best place to place an ad right now, because if you're on that Explore page, you're looking to be sold to. You are literally going to that page to see new things that are not part of your current ecosystem. So that's your best way to get in front of a new audience. So definitely use the Explore page placement. You cannot use that on Instagram directly. You need to use Facebook Business Manager, which takes us to the next point. Never click the boost button on your Facebook or Instagram post, because you're going to burn your money. Your budget's going to go straight to the trash. You want to use Facebook Business Manager, set up a business, set up a pixel, and run your ads through there. The targeting, the placements, all of that can be customized to get you the best possible results and make the most out of your budget. Other thing I like to do is just to put a little bit of budget behind your organic posts. If you're a growing profile, you're an upcoming artist, you have, I don't know, 10,000 followers, but you're only getting 400 likes a post, put some money behind your organic posts that show up, just so you run up the engagement on it. It's really great for your brand perception and makes you look like a growing artist or more than you actually are. So definitely a valuable thing to start doing. Wasn't expecting to talk this much. Wow. All right, so my basics for essential music marketing, it's going to be, again, very high level. There's other tools that I use, but I think for everyone who's just getting started out, Facebook Business Manager is the most important thing. The Facebook Pixel is the most important tool, in my opinion, on the internet right now. The Pixel is what's going to basically allow you to retarget people who have visited your website or who have visited your profile with further ads. And Business Manager, you need it to run your Facebook and Instagram ads. The other thing that's really great is ToneDen, and I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with it. Is anyone using ToneDen right now? Let's see. Okay, so ToneDen is an amazing resource to use. Oh shoot, whoops. Because you can build out your fan links, you can put your Spotify link on there, you can put your Apple Music link, Amazon, all of your links to the DSPs on release day can go right on there. But the really nice thing is you can integrate the Facebook Pixel for targeting on your ads down the line as well. So great resource to have. And you can also run your ads through there. So if you're not comfortable running ads through Facebook Business Manager, you can run them through ToneDen. It does a decent enough job for an amateur user while you're learning how to actually do it proper through the back end of Facebook. So highly recommend ToneDen. I think it's like $50 a month for the paid version. There's also a free tier, so I highly recommend it. Moving on, Google Ads account. It's necessary for your YouTube ads. I'm not gonna beat the horse on that one. MailChimp, you got to collect as much emails as you can and start sending newsletters, because more people are going to open that than they are going to see your organic Facebook posts or your organic Instagram posts. So you should be sending out mailers around new releases, new merch, big updates, anything that's important that people need to know. That's it. You know, like email is going to be the best way to contact them. One thing I like to make clear for my clients is, let's say Facebook or Instagram goes the same way that Parler did. Parler, if you don't know, is what was it? The Republican run or the Trump social media network, basically, that got taken offline. If you had amassed a massive following on Instagram and all of a sudden it gets taken offline, deplatformed entirely, how are you going to contact your fans? You're not going to be able to, because you don't own the data. With MailChimp, or even having your emails in an Excel sheet, you own that data. You can contact them no matter what happens. So data ownership, super key. Great way to just, again, hit your fans on a different platform. And if you're selling merch, you can send a newsletter and say, hey, I'm doing a flash sale this weekend, 48 hours, 20% off of everything. And now you've made a few $100s for yourself, which can go into your marketing budget. So great way to generate some revenue and stay in contact with your audience. Linktree Pro is, a lot of you guys probably already have this, the link in bio, where you couple all of your links into one spot. You can add your pixel to it, which again is great for marketing. On the paid version, I think it's like $6 or $7 a month. Chartmetric, great for reporting and tracking your release, seeing what playlist it's added to, how your release is performing, and you can also check your competition as well. So great resource. I think it's $50 a month. I wouldn't recommend it if you don't need it right now, but if you're going into a release cycle and you have some extra money, why not? So as I mentioned, I talked about how I would spend your budget if you had a G, you had $5,000 or $10,000, because a lot of you did mention you want to know, hey, how should I spend my money? And if you're spending $1,000, it's not much to work with. If you're doing a single, I would put a good amount of that money directly onto YouTube and spend it relatively quickly. So that way you can get some favorable placement in their little algorithm and start getting served up organically after your ads end. Let's see, the other 300 I would spend on just the social ads that I mentioned, the dark ads, the Instagram ads for stories and the explore page. I would spend the remaining $300 there. With the small budget like that, you can't really do any retargeting. The retargeting can't really begin until you hit that $5,000 threshold, because you won't have enough data to really do anything with it. So as we go to the next level, $5,000, our budgets go up. $1,000 on YouTube, $1,000 on social ads. If you have 100,000 monthly active listeners on Spotify, you can take advantage of something like this. I don't know if my mouse is highlighting it. It's the new music for you pop-up that comes up. This is actually an ad, and I'm sure you guys have been served ads like this before on Spotify. But basically, we use this for a campaign we did for this DJ Carnage for a record that came out 3 weeks ago. And if you have 100,000 monthly active listeners, you can serve them a push notification like this. And for every click, I think it's like 50 or 53 cents. So great return, because it targets people who have already listened to your music and are interested in it. So now the user intent is going to be higher. They're going to click through and listen to the music. So it's great to push your numbers up on Spotify. So I would do a G on that, $1,000 to $1,500 on the influencer campaigns. And that is basically like, I don't know, you can get these mid-level influencers on Instagram or on TikTok to do a dance or whatever you want them to do, or even just post a clip of the music and say, what do you think? If you follow rap or even our generation music, what do y'all think of this? And they put that little, what is it, those red emojis with the exclamation and question mark. And half the time, frankly, the music is trash. But if your music is good, invest in it. If the music is very good, your return will be great, because if they tag you, people are going to start following you. People are going to start checking the content. The other thing is $500 on TikTok ads, and then we move to the next level. Actually, wait, go one step back. TikTok ads are really, really powerful right now. I'm not a big fan of TikTok, the platform itself, but they are a new company. They're basically where Facebook was 7 years ago when they really put the push behind advertising, where you were getting ridiculous rates. So you can really make a lot happen with a $500 budget on TikTok if you do it right. So now we move on to the 10K. We just bump everything up. The only thing that's really different is now we're talking about these conversation campaigns. You can do them on Twitter, you can do them on Instagram. And again, this is an example of a conversation campaign. I don't know if this was a paid placement. I just quickly saw the post today. I don't know if it's a influencer campaign or not, but it would typically look something like this. And then you'll swipe over and you'll hear the music as well. So that's kind of like a brief overview how I would spend it. Obviously, I didn't touch on targeting and how we would do things at a micro level, because everything is circumstantial to your actual needs. So work with a professional for that, and they'll help you along. But tell them, this is how I want to spend the money, because that's how I would. And sometimes it isn't all about the money. So this client is someone I worked with for the past few months. We did 3 campaigns. You'll see the budget is not anything ridiculous. 700, 800, 1500. And this is an artist whose previously most viewed video was 60,000 views. And this is October, 105,000, November, 811,000, February, over 1 million views. The budget didn't change that much. The only thing that changed was the strategy on how we spent it and the cadence at which we spent the money. And it maximized the return for the client. It sent things through the roof on this last one. So sometimes strategy goes a lot farther than just throwing money at things. And that's important to consider. If you have a small budget right now, don't be discouraged, because you can still do a lot if you're constantly testing and seeing what works for you and your audience. We figured it out for this client, and it worked really, really well. Building your Spotify. I hope Ramsey's in here. This section's about Ramsey. But building your Spotify is so important right now. Spotify has market dominance in the US. I think they're at 36 or 40%. Apple Music is floating between 12 and 16. Believe it or not, Amazon is probably going to surpass Apple Music in the next 2 years. So building your Spotify is very important to do. And I know it's so easy to say this, but you should be collaborating with artists who are more established than you. And why should artists care about who you are? I'm not saying go and try and DM Future and work with him. I'm saying people who are in your pond, in your city, who are starting to break through, tap in with them and find out where you fit in by way of a collaboration. Maybe your value proposition in that relationship with that specific artist is, hey, I have an extra G I can throw into the marketing budget, let me on. Or I have extra 5 Gs. Or you could handle the bulk of the production of the music and just have them co-sign on the project. So by doing this, you're both going to have your music released with your names on it. It'll show up on both of your profiles on Spotify. You'll have a better chance of playlisting, and you're going to get more streams on it. Now, this section, push your Spotify as hard as possible. This is a money idea right here. So build your own branded playlist and run ads to grow them. This picture right here is from today. It's 1,200 followers on this playlist. My buddy Ramsey runs it. And Ramsey is an emerging DJ out of New York. We go way, way back. And during the pandemic, he's really gotten his record label underway. And he's using the record label and this Spotify technique to now grow his own personal brand. I think it's really smart because he's spending such a small amount of money. When he told me today how much he's spending, I was shocked. This playlist started in February, first week of February, and it has 1,200 followers now. And he's spending such a small amount of money to grow it. And if you look at the top, whose song is there? His. So now that's 1,200 listens when people come through and check the playlist out. And he's the first person on there. And I think he has 3 or 4 tracks on there. So he's pumping up his streams by association and aligning his music with artists that he wants to be aligned with as well. So it's a smart technique. And as his playlist grows, a good opportunity now is make it large enough where you can monetize it. So maybe once Ramsey has 10,000 followers on here, he can build, or even if you do this for yourself, build out a website to let people submit their music. And when they submit their music, they're going to put their email address, their phone number, and sign up for your newsletter at the same time. You're going to collect data as people submit their music, and then you can start charging them and say, hey, I like this music. If you want to be on the playlist, it's $100. I'll put it on there for 2 weeks. You'll get X amount of streams realistically. And now with that $100 that's coming in, let's say you just do three placements every 2 weeks, you've got $600 a month. And the $600 now goes into your advertising budget. You're generating revenue off of the assets that you own, which is the playlist. So this is a great way to grow, make some money, and actually make more of a marketing budget for yourself. Other thing is just to get in touch with independent playlists and offer to highlight their artists, their music on yours, and they do the same for you. So it's a good way to get more exposure for your Spotify account and get more listeners as well. And once you have, again, that growth, you can start looking into doing that marquee down the line. But great way to pump your numbers up and make some money. So I would be really interested to see who actually uses this idea. Let me know if you do. I'd be curious to see how it goes for you. Oh, Ramsey, thanks for answering questions. Appreciate you. It goes down to DMs. So DMs have been so important for me these past few months of working in the hip hop space, because it's a great way to build connections. This exact webinar is happening right now because I got so many ads from Yellowbrick Music that I was like, you know what, I got to check this out. And then I DM'd them and said, hey, can I teach a webinar? And you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? Here we are. I made it. I got to do this as a result of sending that DM and answering some questions. So you never know what's going to happen. So you should spend some time just trying to connect with people you admire, musicians, again, in your pond, who are a little bit bigger than you, that you actually can get in touch with. Definitely give that a try. What do you lose out on by not doing it? One thing that's working well for me in the marketing world is reaching out to the artists and managers that I actually know and saying, hey, happy release day. Your new music is like, the new music Friday is DM heaven for me. I just start sending out messages, happy release day. Like, how are things going? Is there anything I can help with? Look at this, March 17th, just the other day, 8 days ago. Let me know if there's any room to collab on marketing for the release. Really not happy with the results because they partner with an indie label. And now they have budget left. We're going to be working on the release going forward. And if I didn't send that DM, that's money on the table for me. And now I did. We're making some money. We have a great client to work with, and we're going to build a long-term relationship with them. This is a more of a black hat way for people to bring on clients. If you're having trouble finding clients in the hip hop space, especially who have a marketing budget, start looking through Instagram hashtags and see who's holding that brick of money lined up on their arm, all 100s, and they're flexing money, and just say, I know you have the money. Like, let's work together. Here are the results I can deliver for you. If they're going to flex that money, they can flex 5Gs to run ads with you. So that's a good way to do outreach. Just let them know, I see you, I see the work you're doing. Let's collaborate. Looking beyond artists, just find people in the industry that you're in that you want to be aligned with, or someone that you actually want to be, someone that you really look up to, and just connect with them. Read their work, message them about it. If they're writing articles that you really enjoy, respond to it and tell them what you actually enjoyed about it, because they'll be very receptive to it. They'll be happy to hear from you, and they'll be thrilled that someone actually read their work. And from there, you can build on a relationship and find a way to work with them in the future. Additional questions. So these are the questions that were mailed into me. So we'll quickly jog through them, and then we can do the actual Q&A at the end. So how can I get a job in the industry? Just make it happen. If you want it, go after it and get it. Find out which company you want to work with. Find out who your point of contact would be. LinkedIn is the best tool to do this. Find out who the hiring manager is. And if you need to, if you're just starting up, Go in as an intern. Doing a little bit of free work isn't beneath you, in my opinion, especially as you're getting started. I personally would never bring on an intern myself because I think everyone deserves to be paid for the work that they do. Um, and I think internships are kind of predatory in nature, but that's the way of the industry. If you want it bad enough and you can sacrifice, I don't know, 10 hours a week to do an internship, then go for it. How to transform outside marketing experience into landing, blah, blah, blah. Okay. If you have outside marketing experience, you need to be writing case studies and sharing the results that you have, because the fundamentals of marketing are fundamentals. They are true across the board. So your work in other industries, while it may be different if you're doing B2B versus B2C, the fundamentals and the techniques are still pretty much uniform across the board. So they'll translate well enough, or you'll have a 2-week learning curve to catch up to it. So don't let that be a limiting factor for you. You need to just show them what your value is, whoever you're prospectively interviewing with, show them the value and come with some creative ideas to make you stand out, because your experience is a little bit different. But again, different is not a bad thing. Most difficult obstacle you encountered while marketing campaign, what did you learn from it? I had a lot of obstacles. I'm gonna think on this one, hold on. What do you think about Clubhouse? Clubhouse, how many of you use Clubhouse and actually go there and tune into their panels? Like, who's actually on there and using it? I'm just checking the answers as they come in. Android user. Yeah. Heard, don't know about it. Oh, someone said Clubhouse isn't refined yet. Whoever said that, you're right. Clubhouse is not refined yet. Can't seem to find the right rooms. Can get overwhelming. Yeah. Never heard of it? All right. So Clubhouse is, in my opinion, kind of trash. It can be a valuable tool. You can learn a lot from it, but it can be kind of trash because there is no vetting that's done. So you have these people positioning themselves as leaders and having these conversations, and you don't know what their credentials are. You don't know if they have a proven track record. So if you hop on and they're doing a record industry roundup and it's a bunch of record labels or record label heads, what's the barrier of entry into being a record label owner? There is no real barrier to entry. Anyone can be a record label owner. So what makes what they have to say actually valuable? You don't know that. So check their credentials and we'll have a better experience on Clubhouse, I think. The other thing with Clubhouse is, like, in my experience, it's been a bunch of like B-level people explaining to C-level people how to do things, acting like they're actually A-level people. They're not. There are exceptions, but they're not actual executives in a lot of cases. It's just like people shooting the shit and talking. And for me, like, the biggest vetting thing is if you're on Clubhouse and someone is talking like an authority and their smoke detector low battery beep goes off, no, turn it off. They're broke. They don't know what they're talking about. So turn it off and get back to being productive. You don't need to listen to these people, right? Like the amount of time I've encountered that's when I tune out. You don't know what you're talking about. Get your house in order, literally, figuratively, whatever it is. So that's that. Going back to what would you say was the most difficult obstacle you encountered while marketing a campaign? I mean, when you're doing an album release and you're doing music with like profanity in it, Google is very, very difficult to get around. Getting approvals, that's definitely very difficult to do. So you just need to learn to be persistent. You need to be willing to do whatever it takes to actually get the video approved, which means lots of time with customer support from Google. It's a bit of a nightmare, especially when you're doing it on the independent record label side. On the majors, it's a lot easier, but that's definitely like one of the struggles. Difficult obstacle. I gotta think. I might have to follow up on this later, but I'm gonna stop the screen share right now and start doing some of the Q&A. How do I do this? How do you recommend someone get into the music industry when they're partway through their career in entertainment, but not music? To get into the music industry and you're already in entertainment, it seems like a pretty simple pivot. You just need to align with the right people and figure out where you want to be and put yourself there. Can you go more into putting money behind organic posts? I'm not sure what that means. So if you have Facebook Business Manager, you can go in, if your Facebook page and your Instagram business profile is attached to the Business Manager, you can go in, create a whole new ad, and basically just put like a $10 budget or $2,500, whatever you have, and set your targeting. Instead of creating a new ad, you're going to click at the ad level, you're going to click use existing post and select the right pages. And then you can then select that post, publish it, and let it run for, I don't know, 2 days or 2 weeks, whatever you want to do. So Business Manager, use an existing post and go from there. Difference between organic post and not clicking the boost button. Okay, organic post is when you just post to the feed with no money behind it. So if I post to Instagram right now, that is an organic post. If I post to my story, that's an organic post. If you click the boost button, that does technically become an ad, but it's going to be a garbage ad. You want to use Business Manager to run that ad. What's the difference between using, oh, I answered that one. Is the pixel free? Yes, the pixel is free. If you go into, I guess we'll send the deck out after this. You can click through to Facebook Blueprint and you can learn about it. It's actually free. The courses themselves are free, but taking the certification exams, those are the ones that are $100 or $150. How do I run ads on TikTok? You're going to need to, I think it's like ads.tiktok.com, and you can run through and set up an ad account. And it's going to be similar to how you would run ads on Twitter or on TikTok, or I'm sorry, on Facebook, excuse me. What advice would you give to the new artist who wants to begin a process of producing their own music? I'll be honest with you, I come from a marketing background. I don't know about music production at all. That might be more of a question for your instructors at the actual program. There will be a link to this recording. I think it'll be on the Yellowbrick YouTube channel. So everything will be there for you. When doing social digital ads on Facebook and Instagram, should we do a link click campaign or do more conversion campaigns? Okay, so this is a really, really good question. If you guys didn't hear me, this person is asking, when we're doing social ads on Facebook and Instagram, should we do a link click campaign or a conversion campaign? It depends on how the website you're going to is structured. If there are, if there are custom conversion events set up for tracking conversions and web visits, viewing content, add to carts, this is more for e-commerce, then yes, you should be doing a conversion campaign if your objective is to sell a t-shirt or whatever you're doing. If you're trying to drive people to DSPs, you want to be optimizing for link clicks or landing page views. Doing conversions is not the right metric for that. So if you're driving traffic, link clicks are primarily what you're going to be using. And once you amass enough of those link clicks, you can create a custom audience to do retargeting. Again, this is more like way deeper than I intended to go, but you can create custom audiences off of anyone who's clicked my ad or anyone who's viewed the content. And then you can create what's called a lookalike audience based off of your conversion pixel data. I'm sure I'm losing some of you, but once you create a lookalike audience, it's going to be people who are similar to people who have already engaged with your ads. And then you can start scaling your campaigns and get more people to click through that aren't already familiar with you. So really powerful tool. Definitely learn more about it in some of the courses I recommended. What careers do you pursue before becoming a marketing executive? I mean, I've just been in the music marketing game this entire time. So you can come from a marketing background if you're into it and then make that pivot into music marketing. But I think a marketing background is just a core foundation, like a very basic of what you need. Having no degree in music business, only in marketing, how and where should I start my career in the music industry? I felt like I already touched on that. You just need to look into an internship, find someone you can work with for free, or even if they're willing to pay you, start doing outreach to prospective clients that you would want to work with and say, hey, I don't have experience in music marketing, but I have experience in marketing. I'm not going to charge you. I'm interested in doing a campaign in exchange for a case study, and go from there. Because now you have that proof of work that you can leverage into paid work down the line. Next. Would you say it is a disadvantage for individuals who are aiming for a career in the music industry being in a different country from the USA? You're from Canada. No, hip hop is in Canada. The Weeknd, Drake, that whole crew is just running Canada right now. Justin Bieber is Canadian too, isn't he? No, Canada is not a barrier to entry. Push on, do what makes you happy. You can definitely do it. Why not? What are the building blocks for an artist to build their own brand? I feel like I touched that one already. Thoughts on NFT? I'm going to be writing an article on it soon. I honestly haven't done enough of the research to have a well-formed opinion on it, but hopefully in a few weeks I will have something up. What do you think about the industry in countries like Bolivia? Do you think it'll be a strength and a weakness in a country that is not involved enough in the music industry? That's not entirely true. Coming from dance music and techno music background, Bolivia was actually great for techno music. So it depends on the genre of music that you're looking to work in. Things in Bolivia are still, well, pre-COVID were booming. So yeah, it's not a strength or a weakness. It's just a geographical location. Oh, do these keep coming? There's so many. Okay. I feel like this is only made for people with money. What if I only have a small budget to start? I mean, again, I put 1,000 at the absolute minimum, but you can get away with $500 on a marketing budget. You know, if you don't have money for marketing, that's okay, but you need to make sure that the actual content that you're putting out, the music, the visuals, everything you're putting out needs to be fucking dope. If you're going to come with a half-assed attempt and no marketing budget, then you're going to end up where you belong, in the bin. No one's going to listen to it. It's going to be flat. So refine your craft, make sure the art is good, and then maximize that little budget that you have until you're able to go to a larger record label and do something great. So definitely do that. In your opinion, which university in the US offers a good music or entertainment business master's or MBA? Temple University in Philadelphia has a very, very good program. A lot of my old colleagues from Fame House went there and then came. So definitely a good idea. Check them out. Temple University School of Music Business is a good one. There's my cat. What are your thoughts on hiring a radio promoter for the release of the new single? Are you talking about Payola? Like pay them to pay the music? I'm not sure what the question is. Like, it's technically illegal to do that. But yo, do what works for you. That's it. Do you recommend Reels for artists who are starting out? Yeah, Instagram is putting a huge emphasis on Reels right now. They're actually, if you go to the Explore page, they're putting like 2 or 3 Reels on your Explore page at any given time. Usually if you click Explore, in the top right corner, you're going to have a Reel right there. And sometimes it might be an artist that you're following, or it could just be some cool content similar to content you've browsed in the past. So invest in Reels. If it takes off, it'll really take off. It'll start getting served organically to a lot of people. The one thing about Reels right now is that you can't run ads on it. So it's going to be a purely organic effort. And sometimes if your Reel misses, you're going to have 30 likes on it because no one engages with Reels to begin with. So that's kind of like the catch-22 there. First steps to organic, no budget marketing. What are some low-hanging fruit? You got to grind. You need to put in the work to start DMing people. You need to just get your music in front of as many people as you can organically. Ask your friends to start sharing your music. One thing I like to tell people is supporting a creator, a small business owner, anyone who is creating right now. You don't need to go and buy their music. Sometimes just sharing it is enough. Liking their post is enough. If you aren't willing to do the bare minimum for your friend, whether it's liking or sharing or engaging, then you're just a bad friend. It's not much to ask for. So definitely do that. Ask people to share your music. Earlier, you mentioned someone who started advertising a Spotify playlist in February and got it to 1.2K followers. Do you know what kind of advertising they were doing? Yeah, he's doing Facebook, Instagram ads. I'm probably assuming he's doing Instagram story ads with the swipe up, which will then lead people to the playlist. Now, with that, you're going to have to try a few different types of assets to see what people are engaging with, what people are clicking through on the most, and actually clicking that like button on the playlist to follow it. What would you recommend to someone who wants to do their own branding? To work with a team or company, or to do it alone? Where could I find support in this regard? I don't do a whole lot of branding. I would just recommend find a designer that you're comfortable with and that understands your ethos as an artist and what you're trying to do. I think that is probably the best way to go about it. Thoughts on SMS campaigns rather than just collecting emails? Great question, Austin. SMS campaigns, another great idea. Something that you can do that Facebook is allowing for. They don't allow it in Europe for the European people, but you can actually run ads to drive people to your WhatsApp if you have a business account. So you can have people sign up for your blast list through that ad optimization. You can do, I think it's called like a messenger campaign or a traffic campaign. And you're just going to click, instead of link clicks, you're going to optimize for WhatsApp business account. But when you set your targeting, you can only put US only, I think, for it. DSP is going to be your streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple. On relationship building, is there such a thing as being too persistent when trying to connect with someone over DM and email? Everyone is busy and sometimes needs to message people multiple times to get a hold of them. But when should we know it's time to let it rest and move on, or keep trying? Good question. You don't want to be that annoying person, right? So I think you have to kind of walk on that fine line. If they eventually tell you, hey, piss off, you're getting annoying, that's a good cue. But you don't want to pester someone with something unless it's truly dope either. So make sure you're coming to them with something good, a good opportunity or great music, because you're competing with a lot of people who are doing the same thing. NFTs, I already answered this. Oh, in regards to marketing and branding, it's hot right now. Everyone's doing it. Everyone's trying to catch on that wave from 2 weeks ago. So I think it's a talking piece. Will it reshape the way transactions work in the music industry? I don't know. But, you know, I think it's hot right now just to say I'm doing an NFT. But if your art or your music is not cool, then it's like, okay, cool. Well, what's the point of doing it? Can you tell kids about pros and cons of using budget for third-party playlisting companies that promise and deliver a certain amount of plays for a song or campaign? Many companies popping up and existing companies dedicating people and departments to this, especially in dance. You need to know if you're going to do this, you need to vet it properly. Third-party playlisting companies could just be creating playlists that are full of fake followers and populating with fake streams. So you could be basically buying into a bunch of streams from India or Thailand or wherever it is. So fake streams that don't actually help you and will eventually get erased once Spotify catches on to it. So there's value to it if you can verify that the streams are coming from North America or whatever your prime market is, and it's actually going to be authentic. So definitely valuable. Just you need to do your work to make sure that it's quality. Can you talk about the videos, captions, or other ad principles that engage people? This is a tough question because it's different for everybody. I can't, like, it's different for everybody, and really it comes down to experimenting. Make sure you have an engaging caption. That's, you know, it's such a generic thing to say, and make sure your asset is engaging. Employ a professional who actually works in this. They'll be able to do it for you. In the beginning, were your parents supportive of your career in music? Yes and no. My parents have always been supportive of my entrepreneurial endeavors. And it took a little while to warm up to the career in music because, as with any parent, they want you to do well and to succeed and be on the path of least resistance to be the most successful. I come from an immigrant family that moved here across the world to, get here and give us a better life. And they just wanted to make sure I'm making the most out of that opportunity, which it could have been a bit contentious at times, but now that I've found success and I've grown over the years and they've seen what I've been able to do, I have nothing but support from my parents. And if you're having, struggles at home, as a result of it with your family, you need to come up with an actual plan and say, hey, this is the vision, this is the plan, this is how I'm going to do it. Give them the peace of mind by showing them you have a plan. You're not just living in their house and making music and not really making a living. So really show them you have a plan to succeed and make it happen. How do you leverage your connections to make the most of them without being weird? Be organic, be yourself. Don't try and force things. It's simple. Advice on ways to gain more circulation for organic posts without utilizing paid promotion. Yeah, again, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. It's not a huge investment to put $2 or $3 behind each post. So if budget is a restricting factor for you, limit your cadence on posting. Limit your post to once a week, but then put some money behind it and make it count. Do you think giveaways, sweepstakes on other Instagram or social sites will help with growing artists following and engagement, or is it more of fake followers? It helps, but it's really like once you get those followers on your page, it's up to you to retain them. So if you're doing a partnership like this, it needs to make sense. So it can't be me doing a partnership with, I don't know, Red Bull, and then they say, hey, follow him on Instagram for a chance to win $10,000. Why are they going to stay and follow me later after the contest is complete? It needs to be rapper to rapper, musician to musician, or record label to artist. It just needs to make sense. Is there a marketing company you recommend for helping artists find their core audience? Can you talk about what content you use to engage initial interest and what content you use to retarget? Okay. Finding your core audience, don't clear this answer, please, because I'm going to come back a little bit. A specific marketing company, no. If you want help finding who your core audience is, hire someone off of Upwork who can go in and analyze your pages and your data and tell you, this is where your audience is. You could probably pay someone in Pakistan $20 to do this for you. And you can find out who your core audience is, where they are, and then you can start building your advertising strategy around it. So hey, majority of my fans are in Chicago. And now I'm going to start boosting content there and grow outwards from there. So that's something you can do. What content do you use to engage initial interest and what content do you use to retarget? Use the same asset and do at least 30 seconds. Make sure it's the dopest content you have, because what you can do if you're running an ad behind it, you can use, and you have your business profile set up, you can go into Business Manager, create a custom audience that's made up of anyone who has watched 50% or more of that 30-second or 1-minute video. And anyone who sticks around to watch 30 seconds of an ad, in my opinion, is highly engaged and wants to see more content down the line. You save that custom audience, and when you have new stuff coming out, they're their own ad set, their own audience, and you start serving them ads as well until they start converting. Let's go next. Most internships are geared towards younger people in college. How could someone older who is interested in getting to the music industry navigate around that? Again, you don't know until you put yourself out there. There's plenty of people, especially with COVID going on. A lot of these companies are strapped. They don't have money to spend like they used to. So they would happily take the extra work. You should just give it a shot and see how it goes. How can we contact you directly? I think they've shared my information a few times in here, and she'll share it again now. I'm an actor in NYC. I feel like a leech putting myself around certain people for an opportunity. How can I change that perspective? Again, don't feel like a leech. You're trying to get ahead in life. Don't feel like you're an imposter in your own life either. If you're talented and you believe in yourself, then you deserve the best. So you're not going to get that by not putting yourself out there. You need to just, again, do what works for you, but you need to also get out of your comfort zone a little bit as well. You're not going to make any results or any headway without putting yourself out there. And I think that's the best way to change your perspective. Do I want to stay complacent where I am right now? Or do I want to ascend to the next level? And to ascend to the next level, you need to network and get in front of new people, people who are in a position that you want to be in. I'm Indian. I was told by UCLA entertainment candidate that having experience in Bollywood or Indian music would be a huge deal in Hollywood because I know the best of both worlds. What are your thoughts on the same? Not my background or my experience, but I'm pretty sure Bollywood is a pretty big deal and they have a huge viewership. So maybe that is an asset for people. Yeah, I don't know. This isn't my background or my experience, to be honest with you. So I don't want to give you a half-ass answer. Thoughts on the website DistroKid for marketing? I haven't used it, but I've heard good things. These are a lot of questions. Wow, they're still going. Do you think that, what? Oh, using Instagram to upload music videos or a cover is a good start for someone that wants to start posting her singing covers. Use Instagram, but also use YouTube. YouTube is a great discovery platform, so use both. And yeah, definitely use your hashtags. Definitely tag the artist that you're covering. If you see that they have, if the artist is large enough where they have fan clubs that are maybe like 10,000 people in that fan club, example, probably not the best example, and please don't do it, but if you do a cover of a Cardi B song, there's probably like Cardi B España, Cardi B Mexico, Cardi B Canada, and it's just like her fan club, regional fan clubs. Tag them in it, and they might be able to actually reshare those. And I know that Cardi's team or a lot of these larger artist teams work directly with these fan clubs to feed them content. It's just a part of their marketing plan is, hey, these independently run fan clubs, we're going to feed them content. We're going to give them some merch here and there because they're pushing the good work about, or the good word about our music. So it's a symbiotic relationship. If they see that you've done a cover and they repost it, now you have a better chance of getting in front of the artist or at least the management team. So definitely do both. Build funds for an upcoming artist marketing budget. Don't take on debt. That's the best advice. Don't take on debt because you're not going to recoup it. Either use someone else's money from a record label or work an extra job and start saving money on the side. I'm not sure how to put this in question format. However, if you interned prior at a record label and left completely different industry and sales and now want to get back in the music industry, but not quite sure where I fit, what do you suggest? You have that experience and you should really basically take your experience as an intern and align it with that last job that you had. So rewrite some of the roles and responsibilities to make it sound like it's still music industry, even if it's not, just to basically say or show that you know what you're doing when you go to reapply. So if you dealt with financials at the sales, you can tell them, hey, I dealt with accounts receivable and accounts payable, I dealt with XYZ, that the skills transfer over to this new position that you want. Would you suggest doing an MBA program to go ahead in the music industry? No, absolutely not. Look, the thing with these MBA programs, I think this program that you're in right now with Yellowbrick is going to be better. I hope there isn't an MBA program for this too, but whatever. I think this is going to be better for you because it's happening more in real time as the industry changes and adapts. Things happen so fast in the music industry and in the music business in general that you can't write a curriculum about it and get it approved in time to start teaching it for the fall, because by the time you reach the fall, we're talking about right now, by the time you reach fall, everything's changed again. And especially in marketing, things are changing so quickly. I wouldn't recommend it. Self-teaching yourself is probably the better way to go about things. in your opinion, will be a real change in live performances, Lollapalooza, after the pandemic? Things are bound to go back to normal. It's not going to be this year, but the year after, it'll definitely go back to normal. I know that some of my booking agency friends are starting to actually start booking shows again. I know they're a bit down the line, but it's happening. Things are coming back to normal. As vaccinations come back, things will be coming back. Now, I think what will happen, in addition to these live performances, these festivals are going to start utilizing the digital component more. So I think they're going to start doing more paid streams. At the end of the day, I think these festivals are going to be making more money than ever before, because now they're going to have that hybrid experience where you can either go or you can tune in online. They've all been forced to adapt into the technology right now, to provide a really great experience. So investing into a better online experience is now going to be a viable business for them down the line as well, or a viable revenue stream for them. If I study marketing as an indie artist, is there still a need for me to hire a marketing agent as a part of my team? So as an indie artist, if you have the fundamentals and the basics down and you do some of the courses that I mentioned, you'll be okay at the very beginning while you're managing your own budget, especially if you can take the budget that you would be paying a professional and put it directly back into your marketing budget, you'll be fine. But if you're getting to a point where you're ready to scale, your focus shouldn't be producing music and marketing the music and managing your career and booking your own shows. At one point, as an artist, you reach a level where we all hope to, where we can bring on these professionals so you can focus on your job, which at the end of the day is making music. Tips on converting Spotify listeners to actual followers. You got to just keep hitting them with ads. If you do the Spotify marquee, and again, you need to have the budget for it and the monthly listeners, you can target your actual followers on Spotify with that. You said early in the presentation, protect yourself in art. I currently have a SoundCloud Pro and monetize my songs, but I haven't copyrighted them. I've had people sample songs, which I don't like, yeah, for sure, or use my music for videos. Would you recommend demonetizing my music and taking off those platforms until I get it protected? The songs were released a while ago and have generated a good amount of plays to feel like I'm getting some recognition. I would recommend, I don't know, that's a tough position to be in. If they're giving you credit and saying this music is by Alana or whatever your artist name is, and they're actually shouting you out in it, I think there's more value, especially if it's larger profiles than you. That recognition, I think, is worth more, or that exposure is worth more than whatever royalties you would make. And in those situations, if that is the circumstance that you're in, you could always just reach out to the artist or whoever posted it and say, hey, I'm going to post a comment. Can you pin it for me? Or, hey, you're using my music. Could you please at least credit me? And I think that's one way to go about it. And if they're unwilling to do it, then yeah, file a takedown request. What else can you do? I recorded a song I wrote in my house. Should I wait to record it in a studio with professionals, or is it fine sharing it now and then the studio version? Put out your best work always. Don't put out a substandard product. You could still release it if you wanted to, but is that the first impression you want people to have of your music? An unfinished track, and technically unmastered is unfinished. Is that the impression you want to make for a prospective first listener? I don't think so. Put your best foot forward. You can always take down a release down the line if you want to. If the song isn't good or if your sound changes, you evolve as a musician, you can always take down old tracks that don't fit your sound. But right now, record it in the studio and put it out live. Answered this question. Someone, I accidentally cleared a question. It was saying, how do you overcome imposter syndrome? Everyone's faking it until they make it. I always thought my whole life everyone has their shit together. We're all just getting by. We're doing our best every day. Um, so don't ever feel, you should never feel like an imposter in your own life. That is your life. Don't be ashamed of who you are. Be confident in who you are as a person and what you know. Don't speak on things that you aren't familiar with. That's definitely, that would make you an imposter, but just be confident in yourself and be great. I don't know how else I can answer that. How could I get hired to make merch and become more than someone that hangs up tees, shirts, and sells them? Uh, that's a really difficult process, Madeline. So making merch and doing more than just someone who hangs up shirts and sells them. First, you want to find clients. You're going to need to find a factory, and you're going to need to negotiate pricing. You're going to need a designer to actually make the merch. Then you're going to need to build out the actual e-commerce component of it, which is typically Shopify. Um, it's a lot of work. I wouldn't recommend going about it yourself. Um, I did write a case study. It's on my website about how I produce merch purely for a case study. I just did it for shits and giggles. It's in the actual presentation you'll get at the end. The merchandising article is right there. You'll see the case study where I was like, I made, I think 50 shirts or 50 hats, built out an e-commerce website, and it was just an exercise on sourcing merchandise and selling it. So I made the hats for like $5 a pop, shipped from China to my house, and then I sold them for 30 a pop. So I had a huge profit margin as a result. It was like 86 or 84% profit margin. It ended up being me investing a couple $100 to do the case study. You just need to be ready to do the work and build a brand around it. I didn't have a brand, which made it a bit difficult. I tapped into what was like a hot topic at the time that people were talking about to make that money back. But if it's Madeline with no brand, don't try and make merch for yourself and sell it. Who's going to come buy it? Let me see. There's so many questions still. How did you work with J Balvin? So the J Balvin track was I worked on Made in Tokyo's album, which came out in October. It's called Never Forgotten. You can check it out. And J Balvin was actually collaborated on the album. At the same time, J Balvin had his McDonald's Happy Meal going around too. So it was just like this massive moment in his career. And he was also doing the integration with Fortnite, the video game. So that was really cool. And something that worked well on the J Balvin track, we just did ads directly to South America, people interested in his music. We got the cheapest click-throughs because his fan base's interest is so high. Like we were doing tens of thousands of clicks for pennies. Like each click was coming through at a couple cents. He's just such a powerful act, especially in that moment. I don't think there was a bigger artist in those few months. And even right now, honestly, yeah, it's massive. It was a massive experience. All right, I'm gonna do one more question because I'm like losing my voice. Answer this. How did you go about hiring your first employees at your company? Were they people you knew? Hiring people is such a difficult process because you're not only going to pay them out of your own pocket, but like you're trusting them with your business. And when you're scaling, like from, hey, I'm doing everything myself to now I'm bringing on support, it's a difficult thing because you're going to be relinquishing power. So you need to find someone who you trust, someone who is actually like smart and has a good understanding of the work that you do, or at least the ability to coach them. The people that I hired, one was a former intern at an old company I worked at. My like most recent employee, it was a LinkedIn job listing that he responded to, and he happened to be in the DC area, part of the club scene. And he ended up working with me for like over a year. So you gotta see what works. I mean, LinkedIn ads are great, but you really need to, especially hiring your first employee, spend time vetting out the right person. Don't just settle for one person. the hard thing is if you hire someone and they suck and you have to let them go in a few months, you're back where you started and you've created more work for yourself because now you need to train a new person. So make sure you get it right from the beginning. Even if it takes 2 or 3 weeks longer to find the right person, make sure you hire the right person. Guys, this is a lot of questions. Thank you for your time. Thanks for tuning in. Definitely, please, if you're still on here, shoot me a DM. Tell me what you learned. If you have any other questions, I'll try and answer them in the coming days. But yeah, this was great. Hopefully, we can all connect and maybe do something again together in the future. Thanks, guys. I'm out.